Hi, my friends. Gather around. I have an amazing story to share, but hold on to your nerves because it's really scary. Imagine this. There's a horror movie I watched recently, and it's about a girl named Lisa. She decided to live alone in an old house far from the city. The house had been abandoned for a long time, and people said it was cursed. Of course, Lisa didn't believe in superstitions and told herself, what's the worst that could happen? The first night was quiet, but in the middle of the night, she began hearing faint footsteps coming from the hallway. She got up to check, but found nothing. She went back to bed, but the sound didn't stop. She heard doors opening and closing on their own, and whispers as if someone was speaking, but she couldn't understand. 2 days later, she discovered a strange room she hadn't seen before. It was hidden behind an old bookshelf. When she opened it, she found a large mirror covered with a black cloth. Curiosity got the better of her, so she removed the cloth, and that's when the nightmare began. When she looked into the mirror, she saw her reflection, but it wasn't normal. Her eyes were completely black, and her reflection was smiling in a terrifying way. The reflection started moving on its own, as if it were another person. Lisa tried to leave the room, but the door slammed shut on its own. The mirror began whispering strange sounds, and the words seemed like spell. Suddenly, a hand emerged from the mirror and grabbed her. She tried to scream, but her voice was gone. The next morning, the neighbors noticed she was missing. When they entered the house, they didn't find Lisa, but the mirror was still there. The strange part, her face appeared in the mirror, crying and pleading for help. Since then, anyone who enters the house hears whispers, as if Lisa is trying to warn them. So what do you think? If you see a strange mirror next time, would you dare to look into it? The house kept its dark secret, and over time, even stranger rumors began to spread about it. They said anyone brave enough to enter the basement where the mirror was would never return. But some people didn't believe the stories, like Mark and his friends. Mark was an adventurous young man who loved challenges and mysteries. When he heard about Lisa's story and the mirror, he felt an overwhelming urge to uncover the truth. He convinced 3 of his friends to join him in exploring the house. Despite their hesitation, they eventually agreed, thinking it was just a fun, spooky tale. They arrived at the house at sunset, and the atmosphere was heavy with silence. The house seemed to stare back at them through its dusty windows. Mark pushed the rusty door open, and they stepped inside cautiously. The house smelled of mold and dust, and the walls were covered with scratches and mysterious handprints. They searched the house until they found the basement. The air down there was unnaturally cold. Using their flashlights, they illuminated the room, and there it was, the mirror, standing in the center, as if it were waiting for them. Mark said confidently, "This is it, just an old piece of glass." But before he could approach, the mirror started making strange noises, almost like groaning. One of his friends, James, nervously said, "Mark, this isn't normal. Let's leave now." Mark ignored the warning and pulled off the cloth covering the mirror. At that moment, the reflections appeared, but they weren't normal. Each reflection looked like it was suffering, silently screaming. They tried to back away, but suddenly, the basement door slammed shut. The flashlights started flickering one by one. The mirror began whispering louder, and the air in the room became suffocating. Then something unbelievable happened. Mark's reflection stepped out of the mirror, but its face was twisted in a horrifying way. It spoke in a distorted voice. "Why did you come? This is our place now." The friends tried to escape, but the walls began closing in on them. The mirror started pulling them in, one by one. James was the first to be completely absorbed into the mirror, his screams fading into silence. Mark tried to resist, but a cold hand grabbed his leg. In the final moment, the mirror shattered with a deafening crash. Everything went silent. The screams, the shadows, even the mirror itself. When Mark woke up, He found himself alone in the basement. His friends had vanished completely. But did the story truly end? Or had Mark himself become part of the mirror's curse?